So hello and welcome back to the channel. Once again we're going to be looking at field of view. I have done a video on field of view before, quite some time ago, and I think since getting to grips with the game itself, I think I've learnt a few more little tricks up my sleeve to get my field of view just the way I want it really. So I'm going to be selecting a few cars that I've never driven before. And usually this brings you into the car in a position that you're not particularly happy with. From there, I'm just going to show you my approach to setting my field of view. And it's just such an easy method, I think. It's really intuitive and you don't need to have any figures or numbers or anything like that. So let's get into it. So we're going to be starting with the M1 Pro car. Never driven this car before. And let's see what seating position we get given. So as you can see, as soon as we come onto the screen, if we get rid of all the bits and pieces, you can see straight away his hands are massive. I mean, look at the size of my hands in comparison to his. The wheels probably, I mean, who drives a chunky wheel like that? So the best thing you can do is come out of there and go into your option menu. You want to go to controls, and it's in the assignment section that we want to be looking. And if we come to this section here, I mean, I've got a keyboard hooked up to my Xbox. You could assign all these keys to something on your wheel or on your control pad, but initially you just want to, you don't need to worry about setting your headlights or your windscreen wipers. Just get your seating, all these as buttons on wheel, keyboard or whatever, and just assign them to something so that you can adjust them in the game. And then come back out and we'll resume our game. So I can just move forward and backwards using my keyboard. And we're going to move all the way out. I certainly haven't chose that position. Obviously you can see the wheels getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and to a point where we've gone really far into the mask. So now you can see that's a really tiny wheel. If you look at the size of your own hands, I don't know how this will transpose onto people that sit with the TV or monitors much further away, but certainly for those that sit with maybe a triple monitor surround, this works really well, especially when the monitor's this close. So all I'm going to try and do, I know the centre of the wheel, centre of my wheel is about here. So I need to move the centre of this wheel down so it's more in line with where my own centre is. And obviously the hands, his hands are tiny now, the wheel's tiny. Usually you're going to end up losing the wing mirror because that's just the way the field of view works. You're trying to get a natural field of view. One of the other key points, if you've ever sat behind the wheel of a car, I don't know how old you are, but usually you've got my eye line is usually around the centre of the windscreen itself. In most cars I've driven, obviously I've never driven a Formula 1 car, so your eye line's going to be somewhere completely different. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower the driving position to where the wheel is about central to my own wheel, and as we bring that in, obviously the centre of the wheel is going to get lower and lower. So now we can sort of bring his hands up. Still, maybe my hands are a little bit bigger than his, and the wheel's dropping too far now. So that's a fairly good comparison, I think. Hand size, the wheel's not too chunky, maybe a tiny bit more. That's better. And that would be a good field of view, to be honest. You're never going to be able to see the wing mirrors, and obviously once you start rolling, if we just set off out of here and just see how it looks, because it will start to move.
Steady on the outbound.
Oh. So you might need to just, while you're still moving, just adjust that, bring it down. Move it in a little bit. That's better. Just setting your field of view just gives you a better idea on the size of the car, the dimensions of the car. You know, you can get close to curves, and it just gives you a better reference really to where everything is. So let's look at a few other cars to give you an idea again. Never driven that. This probably sounds amazing actually. I'm gonna put my headset on for this. Does sound sweet, doesn't it?
Go, go, go!
So yeah, again, not happy with the field of view at all. So we're going to move ourselves forward, or move our seating position backwards. Actually see and we're going to want to come in a tiny bit. Maybe a touch more, maybe a little bit more. That looks about right for me. Just looking at the size of my hands in comparison to his, and the size of the wheel, and whether his hands are sort of where my hands would be. So let's give this another squeeze. Oh yeah. So yeah, let's have a little look at something else. Yeah, certainly never driven this one before, the old E-Type. So just looking at the hands again, yeah? Maybe the... like I need to lift it slightly, just to get an idea. I think we're a little bit too close. Just going to drop that down a bit now. About there. Loads of understeer. Still needs to drop a little bit more. Maybe just come in a little bit. So just making these little adjustments on my keyboard while I'm moving. Again, I still feel like I need to come down a touch, and in a touch. No brakes. But yeah, that's quite a handful.
Go, go, go.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you got given a view like that. So we can see the wheel. We can see the hands are just absolutely huge. You know what I mean? That's the view we've got given. It's just far too close. So we're going to have to back it up and try and get that wheel a similar size to what we are using, and just sort of drop it down to where my own wheel is. Maybe slightly bigger hands. Let's give that a whirl. Obviously when it moves away, the wheel obviously looks a lot smaller now, or a tiny bit smaller, especially when we're further away. So I'm just going to come in a tiny bit. Just come in a tiny bit more. Again. Always misjudge that one. Maybe those brakes are warming up. don't particularly know this circuit very well, can you tell? So yeah, I mean that feels brilliant. Let's have a look at another one.
Go, go, go.
So we can see this one looks pretty good, to be honest. My hand's probably about the same size. Let's give it a try. Ooh, very twitchy. Yeah, that's a great sitting position already. Doesn't feel anything like the beast that it is on a Assetto Corsa. This is a beast of a car on a Assetto. Ooh, still there. Enough to catch you out. But yeah, that's nice to set up.
Go, go, go.
What the hell are we going to do with this one? What is all that shit? You can barely see out the window. Don't know where my hands are. let's give this a try. It's going to have to come down a bit. Although, I mean, that's where the wheel is. Surely I can't be sat down here, look. That's just crazy, look at that. So we're going to have to take that further away, aren't we, to get an idea. That's going to be about there, centre-wise. So we're right inside the visor now. So that's as far away as it's going to be. Maybe a tiny bit more. They're about the right size hands, would you say? Tiny bit more in. Obviously, once we start moving again, let's give that a whirl. We're going to have to drop that steering wheel down. I can't see a fucking thing. It wants to be about there, I reckon. Barely see where you're going. So I think when you come up with a scenario like this, you've got the other keys that we chose, camera. So seat angle up and down. So as well as moving the seat vertically up and down again, and we can move back and forward, you can also angle the seat so it's tilting. So let's see if that can remedy our problem. So let's angle down a little so that we're looking down the way, and then we can lower our seat angle. Obviously we can't see the wheel and we've got our hands in the way now, so maybe that wasn't a great idea. It's very hard to judge this one. The seating position is crazy. think it's going to be a case of you're just not going to be able to see the wheel to get an idea on this one, because I think you really need to angle it. You see how nothing's really changing outside the wheel. So let's have that down. That looks a little bit better to me. Got to imagine you sat a little bit lower down. So we've got the hands where they should be, and we can actually see out the window. So let's give that a try. Still feels like we're miles away from the steering wheel though when we accelerate. So I'm just going to pull that in a little bit. Let's just get a look at our hands. Hands are about the right size. It does just feel horrible because of this seating angle. Just trying to put that down. You see how the whole, it's not like, it's like the whole car, the whole thing moves. For me, you should just be changing the angle of view. So if I sit myself higher, I should be able to see more. The outside, for me, shouldn't move. It's just the internals that should move. So angling it up and down doesn't really make any difference. It's like you want to be about there, really. But then you can't see your hands. They're a little bit lower. But it gives me a much better field of view to actually see what I'm bloody doing. So you won't notice that I could see what I'm doing. Maybe just a tiny bit up. Just give me a little bit more awareness. So yeah, that's certainly a tricky one. So yeah, you can't see the wheel really at all, it's just right the way down there. But it's very hard to see out this window. So obviously again, the hands are just huge, aren't they? Let's see what happens when we set off. Still far too big, aren't they? So let's just move that wheel. Wants to come down anyway. Let's move it away a little bit. About the same size hands, would you say? Just looking at my hand. I think it wants to come down a bit, the wheel, to give us the correct field of view. His hands are just a lot higher than mine. But imagine he's sat much lower than I am. He's probably got his hands up here. It feels lovely to drive. So here we are in the Formula Renault, and again, huge hands, really huge hands. Let's just move that away a little bit, get some perspective on the hand size. Wow. See, I would imagine if we angle down, then lift up, you can start to get an idea of what you're actually going to really see. So angle that down again, and then drop the steering wheel. Because it's very hard to judge the seating position, my seating position is much more like a standard car, whereas when you're sat in a Formula seat, you're almost laid down, so to try and recreate that, you're going to get your hands in the way. Lower it down a little bit further, and that's more likely what you're going to see when you're actually sat in a car. Obviously it pulls a little bit further away from us when we're accelerating, so we need to just move the seat in a little bit further. So yeah, I just wanted to show a few ideas on setting your field of view without all the numbers and trying to work out how far the distance is from your screen and how big's your screen. Just do it intuitively, you know what I mean? You're just trying to get a good driving position, something that's natural to the car that you're driving, and it'll just give you a better reference to where things are around you and how the car fits through gaps, whether you're close to curves, and it just gives you a better sense of speed. So I hope that's helpful, and thanks for watching.